right. Good afternoon. Good evening, depending on when you're watching this. I'm Brad Britt, Program Manager for the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program Transition Program. Today, what we're very fortunate to have with us Bruce Thompson, who's going to talk to us a little bit about vets to industry. With that, really, Bruce, I just kind of want to hand it over to you, give you the opportunity to talk about it, and share whatever information you think would be beneficial for the population that we serve. But I really appreciate you taking the time to join us, tell us about this, and the work that you do to help our veterans and our transitioning airmen.
Well, Brad, first off, thank you for inviting me on. Let me talk a little about vets to industry and the programs and the resources that we provide to those in transition, veterans, military spouses, and really, anybody who's connected that just needs that little bit extra that sometimes it's just that confidence that they're on the right track. Sometimes it's the I just found out I'm getting med boarded. I don't know what to do. I don't have a date. How do I prepare? So, we're huge in just answering the questions and paying it forward. We're made up of a lot of uh, veterans. Some retirees, some that did some time separated, but all of us together are in the pay it forward mode. How can I help? No one's here. We're an all volunteer organization, but what we come out and do is two main focuses. One, our goal is to create the largest resource library available. So we're trying to make that one stop shop for everybody. Hey, come onto our website, check out the resource library. It's broken down by industries, it's broken down by different states. You can get on the map and zoom right into your city of choice. You kind of see what's available, what's out there for you. And you know, I wish we had more volunteers that could go through and vet the resources, and then we can get them uploaded faster. But we're we're uh, we're doing it as fast as we can with the right people and making sure that if we put a resource out there, it's legitimate. So we don't want to go out there and put a resource out there that's going to be taking advantage of our service members, their families, our veterans. And then one of the other big thing that we did, and it just happened to align perfectly with us and COVID. We're getting ready to say, hey, let's have this event, and it was going to be an in person right there, just south of Atlanta, where the boss is from. And all of a sudden, it was the hey, COVID just shut everything down. Okay, I guess we're going to do this virtually then. None of us, want COVID to be here. None of us want to do it, but it forced us to learn a new way of doing things. And by going virtual, we've had people on our events from all over the world. You know, transition service members, in Singapore, they get up in the middle of the night so they can be with us. We have, Japan, the Germany, uh, Diego Garcia. We I honestly want to say that we probably have somebody from all 50 states that join us. And so it's no longer regional. It's no longer by your city. We're able to reach out and hey, I've got somebody in Seattle that wants to come to Jacksonville, Florida. I'm like, hey, let's talk. That's where I'm at. I got people in Jacksonville, Florida saying, hey, I want to get, to Texas. And I'm like, hey, have you checked the weather out? It's a little cold there right now. Florida is supposed to be in the 80s today. So a little of that back and forth. Uh, but it's what's happened. So every 3 weeks, Vest Industry holds our uh, virtual networking circuit event. We have up to 500 people uh, that can come on, and we get uh, and first and foremost, all of our events are free. We're not charging anybody. We're not trying to be that. We want to be that resource that people can come to, make the connections, get what they need, and not stress about can they pay the X amount that other people charge. We're not there. We want to do this for free. It's all about, like I said, paying it forward, helping, how can I help others? And so during the event, you just register on Eventbrite, search Vets to Industry on Eventbrite. You'll see what we have out there for our events. And on the virtual networking events, we'll go in. Brian Arrington, who is our founder and president, will give about a 2-3 minute spiel on how Vets to Industry came about. Uh, he's a visionary. What he has been able to put together while he was on active duty, transitioning, and now that he's been out for about a year, it's just amazing. You know, so I'm happy to be part of the team. We got Brian with the Air Force side, and I'm over here on the Marine side. So sometimes we don't speak the same language. you know, just like we talk about, during your transition, you have to be able to translate your skills. Well, just when we have our different meetings, we have to translate, our vocabularies for each other. It's just that, if we can't even talk the same language we've been in military service, that's definitely something we have to put together um, as we all transition.
Yeah.
But he gives that background. Then we have our keynote speaker, talks about 15 minutes. Then we do a 15-minute Q&A session with them. We're a networking event, but we have lots of companies that show up looking to find talent within the event to fill their open roles. So we let the recruiters come in. We give them like a 45-second window to kind of say who they are, what organization. As they go through that one, we go out to these breakout sessions. This is where, we call it the money of what we do. You go, there's up to 500 people in the main room. There's no way you can have, kind of one-on-one or real conversations. So we go to breakout sessions, and it's 6 to 10 people in a room at a time. You get 25 minutes, and there's always going to be a facilitator. There's going to be at least a recruiter in there, and it's an opportunity to go through and, hey, I've heard that FEMA you know uh, has certain roles, and I'm interested in doing those. Well, you might have Chip Lampert or some of his people talking about FEMA opportunities. And it's a chance you can ask questions that you really wouldn't feel comfortable asking in a different environment. You can get some of those insights. Who knows? A question could lead to hey, let's set up a call for later this afternoon or for Monday. And it's people finding about resources of, hey, I'm about to go pay, X amount to go to take PMP. Oh, well, have you heard of Onward Opportunity from Syracuse University? You can go through there and take it for free. It's like, what? That's thousands of dollars you're about to save me. And it's not us doing anything other than putting the right people in the right situation. And what we really like to say we do is we take transitioning service members, veterans, military spouses, and we put them in the same room with recruiters, veteran advocates, service providers, resources, information, and others that might not have served but wanted to give back one way or the other. And it's putting all these individuals together in a networking environment and having conversations, letting people learn about things they never heard of. You know, we have some, and we joke is I'll take a little bit of Brian's intro that he always talks about. Brian was an Air Force MP, 20 years. When he got out, one of his friends talked to him about banking and being, a consultant. Brian will tell you, I didn't know anything about banking and nothing about what a consultant did. And then people explained it to me. I'm like, oh, I can do that. It's now he works for Wells Fargo as a consultant, having a great time, really enjoying what he does. But it was that as he was getting out, he didn't know what that was. He was never even thinking about that. And it was a conversation that happened that, lo and behold, that changed everybody's mind.
Yeah. And I mean, you touched on a lot of things I think are important. It's that network. and then just you don't know what you don't know when you're transitioning.
Exactly.
So so being able to run into somebody and just be like, hey, I'm thinking about this. There are so many opportunities that are out there that people don't understand with organizations, especially with the skill set they're bringing with them out of the military, because you take it for granted. You're like, well, yeah, I did that, but that's not a big deal. Everybody did that. Not everybody has leadership capabilities. Not everybody has the ability to be, accountable and stay on top of things. It's interesting when you have to almost talk to somebody who's recruiting military to have that conversation to really kind of hear about your values, and you're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I can do that. Just like you
Right.
said, it's the skills are out there, the resources are out there. I'm happy that you guys are able to put people in the same room, and that's definitely something that our wounded warriors and their family members, their caregivers, and the veterans can benefit from. I
Oh,
think
most definitely.
that's awesome, and it's building that network as you transition. Because the more people you meet, the more opportunities open, and I mean, you just don't know what you're going to be doing. I didn't think I was going to be sitting here doing what I'm doing when I was in the military. I didn't, you know, but it's just amazing that the opportunities are out there if you're just kind of willing to lean forward. I mean, there really isn't anybody who can get you a job. You have to do that yourself.
Right.
But leaning forward and taking advantage of programs um, like this and trying to be active, build your network, that's a good place to start.
And we probably hear it all the time, but your network equals your net worth. You know, you look at how people come across employment opportunities. We're not going back to and I'll date myself. I'm not going back to the very early '90s, and you just walked in and hey, someone had a job wanted or help wanted sign, and you just walked in and said, hey, I saw the help wanted sign, and it's like, oh, give me a minute, we'll interview you on the spot, and it doesn't happen like that anymore. Now, everybody says, hey, go apply online, and there's a trick to the apply online. You At some point we all have to submit the application, but it's connecting with somebody who can get you internal referral or can get your resume in front of the right person. So when you do apply, someone's waiting to see it. Someone's already kind of had it viewed. And one of the statistics that it's truly just uh, mind blowing is if you apply online, and nothing else, you haven't talked to anybody, you haven't done anything, you just simply apply online, you've got about a 6% chance of getting an interview. That that's like incredibly low, and a lot of people who are always just submitting online, that's where that frustration comes because they're not getting anywhere. But on the
Yeah,
flip side, if you use your network to help get you the referral, it jumps up to 85 plus. You know, I'll tell you, if you don't like networking, I understand that it's not a natural thing for a lot of us, but you have to learn to uh, adapt and adjust to it. And a lot of us are, that come out and say, we're uncomfortable networking. And I just laugh and come back and say, while you were in the service, you know, were you in there talking with like the chief's mess? Were you part of this group? If you needed something, we all had our list of who we called depending on what we needed from which department. I'm like, that's all networking, you know, and we're like, well, it's different than. I was like, to a point, yes, it is different. However, the same concepts are there, and this is one of those ones where, you know, I tell people, yes, I've been in the transition space, probably about 7 years, um, and I have built a good sized network. And I tell them the network's not for me. You know, I'm not looking for a job. So my network is who can I help introduce you to that can help you out. And I think that's really important. And a lot of people need to understand that there are so many amazing organizations that are out, and we're all about how can we help? And vets to industry. One of the greatest things about us is that's one of the things I love. We are not in competition with anyone. If we know someone's out there doing it and they're doing it well, guess what? We're putting that resource in our library, and we're going to tell you, hey, have you reached out to still serving veterans? I got my buddy out there, Eric Brew. He's going to help you with your resume. You know, oh, I've got uh, Carmen White. She's with Hiring Heroes USA. She'll help you with resume. She'll help you with these different things. You know, and I'll tell you, if you're going to talk federal resume, I'm going to tell you about Hope White. She is my federal resume guru. Uh, I didn't want to have anything to do with federal employment. Eric mentioned her in a comment. So on one of our events, I looked her up. We had a conversation, and within an hour, I went from heck no, I'm never going to do that to oh, I can't wait for the weekend. I want to go figure out this resume. I'm going to find a position. I'm going to apply for it. No, I woke up on Saturday morning and realized that hold on, I love being in control of my own schedule. So that federal employment thing's not going to be very good for me. But at the same time, it's making sure that people know about these resources, who to reach out to, and, and again, yes, we want to be that organization that everybody can come to get the information. But we're not the only people out there, and we're not trying to be the only people out there. We'll tell you, we partner with great organizations, great other nonprofits, and if you're doing something well to assist those in the military and veteran communities, we're partners. We're all about it because the more love that we can provide to uh, those that are facing transition. And when I say transition, we have to remember it's not just those that are getting out of service today. You know, you've got veterans that, hey, we got it made. We had our positions. We're doing great. And COVID came and that company went away. They got laid off. And so there was this whole other group that no one was expecting. It's now searching for employment. You know, it it was a hard fight. And you had those that, some branches allowed people to extend 6 months instead of getting out during COVID. Well, that was good until you found out that COVID's been going on for over a year now. So 6 months didn't really solve it or help for you. And and those are the things. We got the military spouses. Uh, man, I tell you, my wife, she got uh, about 14 years of uh, the military experience. Where every time she got that job, and she's like, "Man, I love my work. This is great." I'd come home within a few weeks and say, "Hey, um, I got orders," and you just had that complete like, I gotta go through the whole job search again. And she's very talented, has plenty of skills, but there's always that military spouse, you know, negative part that comes along with, oh, they're not going to be here that long, so they're either underemployed or unemployed, and we're working to fix that one. So we have once a quarter we throw our own military spouse event where it's just a straight focus on military spouses, and we did it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I tell you, I think it was one of our best events we've ever had. We had a keynote speaker that was wow. We had a panel that was wow, and then other people who joined us. I'm like, wow, these are like some of the who's who in the neighborhood of military spouse employment. Uh, it was just it's great to see the community rally around um, and be accepting of the Vets to Industry platform to let us be the ones that get to host these events. If you haven't attended one of the events, I just tell you, you got to attend it. Uh, be the fly on the wall to see what's going on. We do have a YouTube channel, so YouTube Vets to Industry, you'll see it, and you'll see what happens in the main room of our events. But you won't get, you know, the breakout sessions where it's really that uniqueness that I think separates us from a lot of other groups. We've got a couple events this weekend. Uh, We're going to start off at 12:45 Eastern with financial basics. We have AAFMAA, Financial Solutions Organization. They're going to come in. They're going to start telling us about all the great things that we should do. Financial basics, military edition, as you have up, and it definitely tells you. We almost always say, if I'd only know then what I know now, we all would have gone back and we all would have been putting that $50 a paycheck into a savings account.
Yeah,
We would have had that one or two less six packs. You know, we've made some better choices with our money. You can't go back and change time, so you just have to be able to figure it out now, so you can figure out from this point forward what can I do. And so that's going to be a great hour workshop. And then afterwards, it's the 16th Vets to Industry Virtual Networking Circuit event. These are those events that we happen to come at just the right time. Everything's been working out for us, and these are those don't miss events. uh, I'll be the first one to tell you, it's 5 hours, but at the same time, with it being 5 hours, we'll probably be 3 to 4 hours in before you even realize we've been on that long. And we say it's 5 hours, but for those diehards, they always want that extra hour, so we actually do a sixth hour. We call it happy hour. It's more question and answers amongst the groups that have made it through. There's times when we still have 200 plus uh, on during that 6 hour. It just goes a long way to saying, that there definitely is a need for what we're doing. There's definitely a desire to help each other, help others. As veterans, it's what we're supposed to be doing.
yeah,
You know, the whole phrase, veterans helping veterans. You hear it, but you don't understand it until you get out. And as a veteran, you're like, oh my goodness, this network is just so incredible. People got out after 4 years, and all of a sudden they're CEOs of large organizations, and they're right back with hey, the military gave me that foundation, that base. And you have, you know, the generals, the admirals that are gotten out, and they use that rank post service, and what it does is it helps connect communities. Here in Jacksonville, Florida, we happen to be a very large military veteran location. So I'll tell you that, me talking with an admiral or general about, hey, how can we kind of roll this out? Or, if I could just talk to this person, you need to talk to that person. We'll set that up. We'll have coffee tomorrow. And you're like, great. And it's being able to use those resources that are available and really reach out and have that. I'll tell you, for me, one of the things that I'm glad I didn't have to do it, but one of the things I think is like really hardest is to transition while overseas. Knowing that you're coming
yeah,
back to the states, and once you get back to the states, you got maybe 60 days before you're out of service. Well, before there weren't, whatever research you could find, whatever your fleet and family, your family readiness team, whatever those things had, that's what you went with. Now you can basically hop in. You can take transition workshops from San Diego, Hampton Roads, you name it. We've got all these different resources that are available and accessible, and I think that's really changing. And you hate to say, thanks to COVID, but COVID made us all learn this thing called Zoom that I don't think many people knew anything about until like last March.
yeah.
So it,
You adapt.
it's
I, I mean that's just I mean that's the whole. And the nice thing that I think is going to be that comes out of this is I'm really interested to see how the corporate industries adapt to this workspace. So I think it'll be because I love working from home. I save on my commute. I save on gas. I probably save on a trip to the taco truck or two. Like, but I'm able to get everything done, and so it'll be interesting with when we do slow roll back in. How those that'll help people, and I think that could also we talked about our caregivers and our military spouses. I think that could definitely help them too, because if you can do the same job from home and you have to relocate, you can keep some really talented people in some
yeah,
really good positions. And so I'm hoping that's one thing that comes out of this is that our virtual footprint and how we utilize human resources are challenged and changed, and they hopefully take the best practices that we've come from this, because I mean, like you said earlier, you can reach somebody who's in northern Wisconsin, someone who's in rural Texas through these kind of events who's not going to be able to travel to Jacksonville.
Right.
So I mean, it's great. I mean, I really appreciate you know everything that you guys are offering. I know I shared the events that were coming up. I'm going to go ahead and share your webpage if you just want to share that real quick. That way we can just get that up here so everybody can see it. So if they want to come and visit, learn more information.
And one of the great things is if you go over to contact and go down to volunteer, right there, I'll tell you, we are a 100% volunteer organization. We've got plenty of individuals that are doing amazing things. We have our different departments. If anyone's interested in volunteering, go to this contact form, fill out your application. We will give you a call, kind of talk to you about where you are, what you're thinking you want to do, the amount of time that you can give. But we are ran completely on volunteerism, and there's a lot of great individuals that have some free time that want to give back and want to be a part of things. So we encourage you to go into that site, volunteer with us. I'll tell you, we can always use more people researching so we can get more resources onto the uh, our resource library. So we always want to make sure that we have some people that can vet. We have plenty of events. So if you're one of those ones that has experience putting events together, understand the organization and all that, come on
Yeah,
board.
there's a
Come on
lot that goes
board.
into those.
You know,
It's a operation.
if if you've got operations experience, trust me, we've got lots of operations going on all at the same time, so we can try to meet the demand for services. If you have career readiness training, that's part of our operations where we have people contact us, at operations at vets2industry.com, and they talk about, oh, we got this person asking for resume help. Not a problem. Let's talk to them and get them out to our resources, our partners that do resumes. Oh, this person's looking for employment in this specific industry in this small area. Well, let's roll out uh, I'll date myself. Let's roll out our Rolodexes and see who we have connected to that area, either at that company, in that town, or someone who can open doors. And that's all we love to do. We love to make the connections so the conversations can be had. And networking is this great thing where you don't know if you hop on that elevator or you just sit beside somebody, at a table at lunch. You say, "Hey, what are you up to?" You know, and you kind of exchange, your quick professional introductions and have those conversations. And you don't know who you're gonna be sitting beside. I've run into some great people that had I been a wallflower and not wanted to just put myself out there, I never would have met these individuals. Now I've met them because I'm willing to talk. They become great parts of my network. People of influence that can really do the introductions. And I tell you, it's about putting yourself out there. And one of the most important things you have to understand about your transition in whatever stage you happen to be, no one cares more about your transition than you. You have to take ownership. You have to go out there and put yourself available. You got to make those decisions on, you know, what is it you want to do. We all come out of the military and we all have, these skill sets that we learned in the military. Some say, yeah, I love it. So I'm going to keep doing. And some say, I'm going to run away from that as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who said I'm running away from that as fast as possible. I worked maintenance management, whether that was for rolling stock, ordnance, electronics. I could do all of the maintenance management parts of that. It's not something I wanted to do. And I'm one of those ones that didn't know what I wanted to do when I get out. So I took that job, electronics factory, senior production supervisor, and it's manufacturing. So it was Groundhog Day over and over. I took it because one, it was 8 miles from the house. So I didn't have to move or do anything crazy. And in Southern California, 8 miles to the house is like right next door. And it paid six figures right off the bat. I resigned after 4 weeks because it was everything I did not want to be doing. and people are like, oh, are you crazy? You left a 6-figure job? And it was like, well, I had another one that was available to me. So it's figuring out who you really are and what you really want to do. And that's an extremely hard thing for us to do, especially if you've been in for 15 plus years. We don't know anything other than military service.
Yeah.
And I retired just shy of 24 years. Like I said, last time I had to go apply for a job, either my brother or my dad had made a phone call to a friend and said, "Yeah, send him in. We'll talk to him." And it was kind of that, unless he does something really stupid, we're gonna, bring him in and have him get to work. You know,
Yeah.
so it was networking back then. We just didn't call it networking. And now we have an even more expanded way of doing it. So it's a great thing to be a part of. It's a great thing to be able to offer to those that need that assistance. And you know, we're here. And if you got an idea of how we can improve, come talk to us. You know, again, we're a bunch of volunteers. We don't know everything, but we know how to get to most things. And if you've got something that we can help you with, you know, we'll help you either get it off the ground yourself, or we'll incorporate it, in stuff that we're offering. And it's all about taking care of each other. Vets Industry is not in competition with anyone. If you're doing something great, we want to know about it so that way we can help others find you. And that's what it's all about, is making sure we take care of one another.
Yeah. I mean, it is, and it's awesome. And I really appreciate you taking the time with us today. It's just nice to know there's organizations out there, and it's the same thing. We're not in competition with each other. We're all trying to help people, help our veterans in their transition, which is great. It's a nice space to be in because you get to see a lot of positivity and people working together. Uh, I mean, the one thing about putting yourself out there, it. The one thing I always tell them to keep in mind: the people who are volunteering to do this, who might not have served, want to help you. That's why they're here. So if they're there to try to network with you, it's not because they want you to fail. It's because they want you to succeed and they feel like they can help. So
Yes.
it's just hard sometimes to say I need help when you've done something really well for 20 years or 8 years or however long you've done it, and now you're kind of starting over. But I really appreciate it. I got the information. I'll make sure that when this is posted, that it's with this. But Bruce, I really want to say thank you for your time today. Thank you for all that you guys do over there, all that y'all do. But if there's anything that you like to leave us with, I'll open up to you. If not, I'll let us go and have a good day.
All right, well, Brad, again, thank you for allowing me to come on, talk about Vets Industry. It's amazing that the resources that, yeah, I say 5 years ago when I retired, I wish I would have known about these resources. I'll tell you, the majority of them did not exist 5 years ago. That is how great the veteran community is coming together to take care of one another, to find that one person who can open the door for you. Uh, whether that's you, whether it's me, whether that's Brian, or anybody who's in these different networking groups that can invite you in. It's a family effort. We love taking care of our own. No one takes care of us better than we do. And again, if you haven't checked out Vest Industry, come out to our event. We're having one this weekend. You'll see what we do. And again, anything we can do that is going to help a brother, a sister, one of our family members, then we're here to take care and do that. So thank you very much for everything that you guys are doing, and I'm glad that we had a chance to talk today.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Well, everybody, I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next time. Thank you.